Hi everybody, thank you for tuning into another video on TK's Tech Corner. Today we're going to be looking at the Valve's Steam Deck. Now I finally received my shipment after 1 year of placing the order, and I think many people that placed the order around June, July last year when it was up for the initial orders knew they would be in for a very long wait. The initial expected delivery date for mine was supposed to be Q1 2022, and then it got delayed and delayed because the production of these has been extremely limited, probably due to components and silicon, etc. The production has been slow, and they've effectively been drip feeding them into the market in small batches as production or as units have become available. And so I purchased the 512 gig model, and we're just going to open it up, have a little look at it, maybe we'll power it on, see what it's all about. So the 512 model, I think if I remember correctly, was the only model that actually came with a carry case, and I think I can see it just there, right? So this is the actual box. This is the box it was shipped in. Unfortunately, my first one that got shipped 2 weeks ago was actually stolen from the Parcel Force depot in East London. So just please be aware and take note, there is a thief in the Parcel Force depot in East London. So Valve kindly sent me out another unit. Thank you very much, Valve, and their customer service was very efficient in dealing with this matter, and I have a replacement now 2 weeks later. So this is a similar sort of situation as a laptop, where when you've got a new laptop like a Dell or whatever, right, when you first power it on, you've got to plug the charger in first and then press the power button, otherwise it doesn't power on. And I'm guessing that's what's going on here, because what they're telling you is first plug it in, then power it on, because otherwise someone might just try and power it on as if it was a standard games console and maybe assume the unit wasn't working, and it was probably absolutely fine all the time. So let's have a look. So we've got the console here. Already, just by looking at the size of this case, I'm not going to call this a portable. I think this is a handheld games console, and it's effectively a you'd probably say it's a PC games console, right? I think it's a Linux-based operating system by default on there. But I'm just looking at the size of this, and I've got a Nintendo Switch here somewhere. I've got the old one here close to me for good measure, right? So we'll just compare sizes when I do get it out. So I've got the Switch here, but this thing, I don't know how it's going to be for portability, but it does feel a bit heavy and definitely does look quite big. I'm guessing this is going to be the charger. So let's go ahead and just have a quick look at this first. If I can get this sticker here off quickly. I haven't got a knife with me. I'm not recording in my usual place today, so I don't have everything set up as I normally do. Just quickly rip this open with some keys. Okay, cool. So pretty sure I ripped it open, but clearly I didn't do a good job. Right, so there we go. USB-C charging port. So there's your little charging brick. It's not too big. It's a wall socket. It reminds me for some reason of, I don't know, Microsoft Surface charger. Looks like something I've had before, but anyway, there we go. And then the C port on there. The power rating on here, if I can get close to it, is you can see there, right? So 5 volt 3 amp, that's giving a 15 watt output. Or mind you, it's a power delivery charger, right, by the looks of it. So it's got 3 different output profiles there. It's got a 45 volt profile as well. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go and plug this in, because they do want this to be plugged in while it first turns on. So what I'll do is I'll remove these so I can have it in view when I power it on, otherwise the cable is going to be too short. And then we'll get the Steam Deck out, and I'll talk through the specifications of these units as well. So the Steam Deck, for those you aren't aware, it's running on an AMD APU, so it's got CPU and GPU, and it's a unit that has 16 gig of RAM, so that's quite respectable, right, for effectively a portable PC. 16 gig of RAM, that's got low profile DDR5 RAM installed in it. It came in 3 different options from a storage capacity perspective. So you could get one with 64 gig of storage, and that was using eMMC. And then there was a 256 gig model, which was just using an NVMe SSD, and then the 512 gig model, which was listed as using a high-speed NVMe SSD. So the 512 ones, it does actually state on their website that they ship with either a PCIe, it was a PCIe Gen 3 4X or PCIe Gen 3 X2, and from their perspective they've been testing with both, and they don't see any significant performance between 2X and 4X, so we just have to take their word on that. Thank you, Valve. So I'm sure there'll be some way of finding out which model we've got, but that is not going to be my priority. So let's go ahead. So here's the pack. So you can see it's got this cardboard outside the actual storage case, and I'm going to go ahead and crack that open in a minute. I don't think I'll be able to slide it off with that. Oh, actually I can. So there was some way for me to tear it open, but I've just managed to slide it off, so I won't go ahead and damage that. I'm just going to put this aside and get all this stuff quickly. Right, so again, big box, big carry case. You can see here they've got a, this is probably going to help you attach it to maybe another bag that you're traveling with, or maybe you're just putting your hand around it, I don't know. Right, so you can definitely slide it onto something, or maybe it just makes it easier to hold. It's got a carry handle as well, and we've got a soft pouch. Now this soft pouch I'm guessing is probably for the charger. That's just a guess. Must be for the charger, can't be for anything else, right? So let's leave that there, and let's finally go ahead and get this unit open. Aha, now there's a security tag on here. How on earth do you remove this security tag when you haven't got any tools? Am I actually going to have to go and get a plier to do this? Yes, I think I'm going to have to go and get a plier. I'm just going to pause the video for 1 second and go and get myself a plier. Right, I'm back. Tooled up, pliers. Let's get this thing off. Let's get this show on the road. That's off. There we go. This valve mean business. First time I've had to ever cut a tag in that way of technology, but I'm very excited to open this, ladies and gentlemen, after 1 year of waiting for this. It's finally here, the Valve Steam Deck. So I was talking about the specifications. It has a 7-inch screen. Wow, look at that. You can see the ring light above as well. Look at that. Again, by no means is this, it's a handheld. Would I call it portable? No, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever try and travel with this. Who knows? Maybe long haul flights, stick it in a rucksack, yeah, maybe. If I'm traveling with not much else. There's a cloth there to wipe your gorgeous screen as well. So a 7-inch screen on here, same side as the 7-inch screen on the OLED Nintendo Switch. It's a, it's, as you can see there, right, size wise, it's a lot chunkier than the Nintendo Switch here. So this is another OLED one. I haven't got that to hand right now, but this is the old LCD one, 6.2-inch screen, 7-inch screen. And this is a 1280 by 800 resolution screen, if I remember correctly, with a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. So now the actual technology on the screen, it's an IPS LCD screen, and it's got 60 Hz refresh rate, and apparently they've measured at 400 nits of brightness. So hopefully in some sort of, I don't doubt you'd build. Seems to have a nice anti-glare finish on it as well. Obviously you're going to see the reflection of that ring light above, which is too bright. So I'm going to press power button. It's not going to turn on. They told us to plug the AC adapter in first and then press the power button. So you can see the lights on, and I've just hit the power button on there. Now I'm going to go ahead and possibly kill this light so that it's not reflecting in the screen too much, because it's quite bright. Just so that you can see the screen better. There you go. And now you'll see a reflection of me probably. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. So we've got the Steam logo, the Steam Deck logo there. Whilst we're waiting for it to power up, you've got touch pads here. These touch pads. Okay, so I'm getting haptic feedback there. You may or may not be able to hear it. As soon as I'm touching these, getting some nice haptic feedback from them. analog sticks do feel nice. I don't know how to do what to compare them to really. They're size-wise the same size as probably the Switch sticks, I suppose. Let's just get a Joy-Con controller off. You can see they're roughly the same sort of size that we're dealing with. Oh, this thing is heavy. Right, so there we go. You can see that they're size-wise they're roughly the same size as the Switch analog sticks, though these ones are convex. You can see there, right, so they stick out. These ones are concave, so they're actually dipped in, so your thumb is nestling on there. I don't really know which ones I prefer, to be honest. PlayStation, Xbox joypads, you know, they're actually concave, and this is convex. And I'm probably one of the few people that really like the Joy-Cons, to be honest. I think they're quite comfortable, and I spent hours and hours on them without any issues. So we're going to go ahead through language selection and some basic setup, I suppose. Yeah, we are not in Pacific Standard Time. Where are we? We are in, let's see if I can find my time zone. I'm probably make a meal of this. Oh my, -3, -2. We're trying to find GMT. There we go, GMT. That's where we are. I'm going to quickly connect to Wi-Fi. So I will just take this off the screen for 1 second. Right, so I've entered my Wi-Fi credentials in, and this is hopefully now connecting to the internet. It's showing connection successful, so we're going to continue. Now this is using their own operating system. It's using a Linux-based operating system, I believe, and I have seen that people are installing Windows, etc. on these devices. I might try it out just to see how it is. I'll see what options are available, just to mess around with it. You can hear a fan kicking in there, so there's the fan. So you can see the actual ventilation slot is there at the top. We've got a 3.5mm headphones jack, volume buttons, volume up and down buttons there. We've got analog triggers. Thank you very much, Valve. We love analog triggers. Not saying there's a problem with Nintendo Switch's digital ones, but you know, analog triggers, right? Can't be an analog trigger. We've got a Steam button here. This is probably to, yeah, it looks like it's going to go through, let it go through initialization first. It's definitely installing something, maybe an update. And then a menu button here, I assume. Yep, the settings button, so that's bringing up some settings, screen brightness, etc. Let's pump that up. Oh, that is plenty bright. Audio, mic, and Wi-Fi connectivity options as well. I don't need Bluetooth on for now. So there you go. That's, I guess, the basics. Let's see what happens once this is finished installing whatever it thinks it's installing, and then we'll go ahead and I will sign in using my Steam account, because I'll probably have to sign in and register it against my account, and then we'll go ahead and mess around with it. So meanwhile, whilst we're waiting, what else can I tell you about this device? As you saw, it has Bluetooth connectivity, and it supports Bluetooth 5 specification, and it supports pairing Bluetooth controllers and etc. with it, because effectively it is a PC, accessories, headphones for example, etc. It supports Wi-Fi, or dual band Wi-Fi on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, and also supports 2x2 MIMO, which is multi in, multi out. And then it's also got, oops, I knocked the stand there. It supports, as you saw, 3.5mm headphone jack, which is nice to see in devices today, because mostly they're replaced by C ports. And it's also got a multi-channel audio via the display port over USB-C, which is interesting, right? You've got standard USB-C port on there, or Bluetooth 5, right? Power input supports power delivery 3, 45-watt input, and the battery is a 40-watt-hour battery, which is rated at 2 to 8 hours of gameplay, but then probably depends on the games you're playing, what resolution you've got set, screen brightness, etc, etc. So all these things will come into play, whether you're playing online or not. If you're online, you're going to be using more battery going through wireless, etc as well, and all these things definitely do make a difference to your battery consumption. You can actually buy a dock for this thing, which I don't think is available yet, so I definitely don't have the dock, unfortunately. But this does support external display connectivity with the USB-C adapter, with DisplayPort 1.4, and apparently it supports up to 8K at 60 Hz or 4K at 120 Hz, and also supports USB 3.2 Gen 2 on that USB-C port. So that's a well-spec'd bit of kit, I would say. and hopefully we'll be having much fun with this going forward. So it's asking for my Steam account credentials. So it's done its initial install and setup, and it's asking for me to log into my Steam account. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause the video quickly and enter my details. Right, so I'm signed in, ready. The first thing I see is a notification, and the funny thing is the notification is for me to buy my Steam Deck. I'm going to mark this as red because I've not done it and I keep seeing that coming up, and it's going to talk me through probably how this thing works. So it's telling me the Steam button, access your library, store, settings and more. Press and hold to view the Steam button shortcut. So I'm just going to press and hold it. And okay, so you have to keep it held. And it shows you all the different shortcuts, and whether you can see them there or not, I don't know. I'll try and go closer to the screen. So holding the Steam button and a combination of all the other millions of buttons on this device effectively results in these actions here on the right. So there you go, helpful list of shortcuts there. And then press any key or tap the screen to continue. This is the quick access button here. So press and hold, quickly view notifications, friends list, blah blah blah. You've got the power button up at the top there, which we know, which we've seen, because that's what we use to power on the device. Volume buttons, which I've showed you already. And then what is it saying here? List, last of all, down below is a micro. Aha, that I didn't look at, did I? See, micro SD card slot there, and I've got plenty of those kicking around, so I'll throw one in. And I'm guessing you can use that as additional storage. It does say that expand your deck storage capacity by inserting and formatting a micro SD card. Cool. I don't have one on me right now, so I'm not going to bother. And we're good to go. So, I haven't got many games in my library here, but what can I install that might be nice and small? Not installed. Street Fighter playtime 78.2 hours. That probably is true. So what should I install is the question. Let's just do a quick install of Sonic. I think this will be small, 470 meg. That should install quickly, hopefully. Let's go ahead and install that. Now look at this. Browse testing the Sonic S4 is unsupported on Steam. Some or the game. Blah, blah, blah. So let's install it anyway. Let's see how a game that hasn't been, looks like, officially certified for this device by Steam themselves works, right? That's going to be interesting to see that. Now, this is probably going to take a bit of time to download over a slow wireless connection. Why is it saying download queued? There's nothing else in the queue. So let's get on with it. There we go. Right. It's going to take a bit of time to install this, so I'm just going to pause the video and I'll be right back. Right, so Sonic Hedgehog 4 episode 1 is installed. Let's go ahead and see what happens when we play a game that is not supported. Play. I'm just going to do play. I'm not going to do configure. I'm guessing configure is probably to configure the button layout. Let's see what happens without doing anything fancy, right? Application requires Java on. Let's see. There you go. Let's see. Next. Code. Blah, blah, blah. Apparently I'm offline. Okay, so that is not working as expected. That's interesting. Can I just download and install Java, Linux, RPM? What should we do? Let's see what happens. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? So now you can see what happens when you play an unsupported game. I'm going to go ahead and install Street Fighter as well. Hopefully one of them will be supported that I've got in my library. Now is a very good reason to start padding up my games library, I suppose, with Steam. That is not really doing... Oh, let me hit the download button. No, that doesn't seem to be working. I'm going to go back. I'm going to try once more, just for the sake of it, see what happens. Never know. No, okay, so I'm going to work. Jari 1.6, okay, cool. So it's asking for quite an old Java version. So we're going to ignore that. We're going to go and install something else. Now, here... Okay, right, so maybe that icon there is showing me that Steam Deck not supported. That's got an exclamation mark. That is also showing not supported, I'm guessing. Let's just see what happens when you install. Yeah, so there you go. Browser testing indicates in the unsupported some of the game currently doesn't function on Steam Deck. So let's leave that as well. Is there? So I mean, these ones will work. Crash. Yeah, that's been nice and small as well. There's some question marks. There's some unknowns. Let's see if there's anything else there. I think it's going to be Crashlands is what we're installing, just so that we can try something out, right? 252 meg should be nice and quick, I assume. So let's just go ahead and pause the video while this installs. Right, okay, so Crashlands is installed now. I don't know why this game just always reminds me of like a top-down version of Borderlands. I haven't played it on this platform, I have played it on another platform. Now this is telling you it's going to use an official layout, so we're going to go ahead and say yeah, cool, and then it's saying starting launch, so let's give it a minute. It's probably firing up. I'm just going to be impatient and keep pressing A. There we go, it's starting up. So how does the unit fit in the hand? It feels nice. We've got some obviously we've got some additional buttons there as well, as you can see there, right? Typically the sort of stuff that you would see on sort of pro controllers. I'll turn the volume down a bit, that's too loud. There we go. You can see controls working absolutely fine. Let's just go into, so how do the triggers feel? Okay, I had to take a moment to find the triggers there. My fingers weren't naturally resting on them. I don't know why, but there we go. The triggers are there now. Found them. Okay, cool. Let's go to story mode. And let's just start. I'll just name my save 1. And let's see how we go. So the screen is nice. It's bright. It looks good. The resolution was absolutely fine for a 7-inch screen like this. Nintendo Switch, also 720p console on the screen. Never been an issue. Games look great on there. The screen is small. You don't need a mad resolution on there, right? Especially when you're on the go gaming. The compromise is less resolution, less battery power being used, more gaming time, and it still looks good, right? So there we go. So you can see. Just going to quickly click through the text here. So we have a little walk around, right? So there we go. So there you go, you can see, right? I'm not going to sit here and play the whole game, but this was just to give you an idea whilst I unboxed it of what this thing is all about. There's another heatsink there by the looks of it. There's a bit of heat coming out of there. We've got the one vent at the top as well. We've got the little triggers here by my fingers as well. They've got a nice feedback to them. Clicky analog sticks. You've got a menu button there as well. Screenshot button here, I assume. D-pad. I haven't really used a D-pad yet, have we? No. I don't know if I can use it in this game. I use it to navigate some menus. This is going to be a lot of fun, I suppose. I guess as I play more games and add more games to the library, I'll probably have to feedback more and let you know how it's going. If you're interested for me to test any games, particularly on this device, let me know, and if I have them or if I can buy them, I'll test them out and we can see how they function, assuming they are supported. I'm getting some interesting haptic feedback from these. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but there is haptic feedback on this touchpad here. I don't know if you can enable or disable that as well. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful and informative. If you have enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. Any questions, please ask them in the comment section below and I will answer them as soon as I can. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to support my channel. Hit the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, take care, all the best.